Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content that I'm making, please click that subscribe button. Also remember to click that bell button and make sure to tick that box to send all notifications so you don't miss out on any videos. With that in mind, let's get on with the video. What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And in this video we're going to be going through the Agrias EX fight. Now Agrias is the new character that we received a few days ago. So a couple of things before we do start this video. First of all, I would like to apologize that this video is quite late. And you guys probably seen a few videos on the Agrias EX fight. The reason for this is being I have been working and will still be working up until I leave basically for my trip. So I really haven't had a chance to actually just sit down and keep trying. The last 2 days have been really tiring and I haven't been feeling that well as well. But I did try. When it first came out, I had about a good maybe I'd say 3 hours at it, and I just couldn't beat it. I tried different combinations since I didn't get Agrias's EX, and I kind of sort of tried to avoid using Agrias as well. So yeah, and in the end I caved in and used my last multi, and I got her 35 CP as well. Now in saying that, the Agrias that you guys are seeing here doesn't have her 35 CP limit broken at all, so it's just nothing at all. So it shows that you can do this with a bit of luck. Actually, you need quite a big amount of luck with this combination that I am using right now. So without further ado, let's just start this video because I know you guys are waiting for this one. So obviously we're gonna start off with the weaknesses, resistances, and the abilities of the Argent Efficient. So for its weakness, it has one weakness, and that is to the water element. As for its resistances, it has fire, earth, wind, and dark resistances. Now let's take a look at its abilities. The first one is just the normal Brave attack, which is a magic Brave attack. Magic Shot, which is his magic HP attack. Firewall, which is a group fire magic Brave attack. Flare Star, which is another group magic Brave attack plus HP attack. This also increases his Brave before he uses this, and this has a high turn rate. Next is Thunder Spear, which is a Thunder Magic Brave attack, which also has a high turn rate. Spear Arts, which is a Magic Brave attack plus HP attack, which also inflicts initial Brave down and attack down. Next, it has the Globated Crush, which he can only use while he's levitating. He recovers from break and increases his Brave, and then he uses a magic HP attack and he will touch down after he uses this ability. Next, he has the Tri-Element, which is a magic Brave attack, which inflicts a speed down, a defense down, and a magic resist down, and this also has a high turn rate. Next, he has the Assault Lance, which he only uses while he is levitating. It is a powerful magic Brave attack, and I noticed that he only uses this when one of them dies. So basically when he's in low HP, when he starts glowing green, this is the only time that I've seen him actually use Assault Lance. Next, he has these chantings. So when it says begin chanting, he will levitate and he will remove all the debuffs, including frames, and he increases its Brave as well. Next is his next chanting. When it says begin a powerful chant, he will levitate and he will remove again all the debuffs and frames included, and he increases his Brave again, and then he buffs himself so he gets a defense up, attack up, speed up, initial brave up, max brave up, and has a low turn rate as well. Now finally, the last chanting is basically when one of them dies, it will say that he is bursting with magic energy, which means he will raise his attack and defense as well. And these ones are not framed at all, like you can't see it, so you just have to say he has the green aura, and that is that basically. And finally, he has a low resistance to the paralyze debuff as one of his key abilities. Alright, so now let's take a look at some general tips and guides. For the first one, as always, to save about 70 to 80% of your abilities for the boss. Actually, I would say just save about 80% of your abilities, because you're definitely gonna need them. If you can push it to 90, then that's great, but around 80% should be somewhere in the safe side, especially if you have a good party composition. But otherwise, yeah, go about 80%. Next is to obviously bring in the boosted characters such as Agrias, Faris, and Ash. If you don't have those characters, well, other characters that you can consider bringing are Terra, Lael, Waka, Ramza, Ace, Seymour, Thancred, Noctis, Tidus, Deuce, Laguna, and I put in Bards there. This is just something that I just thought of just now, that with his missile ability you can shave off about 50% of the boss's brave, which is really great, and it's a brave battery to boot. I think with his EX as well, it charges really fast. You can definitely keep using it, so something to think about there. I don't have his EX, so I can't really try him out, but he's an interesting choice, I think. And of course, you've got Celis as well for the magic tank. Now, as for the healers plus brave battery options, I do feel like Selphie, Eiko, and Kate Sith are probably the best choice here. Honestly, I would even put Selphie on the back burner for now, because she's more of a defensive one, and you really need an offensive healer slash brave battery at this point. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt. As for the summon, you do have an option between Bahamut and Leviathan. I feel like Bahamut is probably the better choice, but it's really up to you. I'd like Ifrit to be there, but the boss is resistance to fire, so yeah. Alright, so let's take a look at some general tips and guides for the fight itself. The first one I have for you is to actually lower the boss to their HP to about red before killing one of them. This really ensures that you don't really get the enrage, and I put that in air quotes. It's not the same enrage as the one we've known, so I don't know, it's sort of like it acts like an enrage thing as well, but at the same time it's not as crazy as the other ones, but it's still pretty crazy. So try to lower the bosses to about in the low red HP area before you try and kill both of them. I know some other people prefer to just kill them one by one, and they can just sort out one more, and I do believe that can work as well. Just in my personal experience, they use the they get too much brave when you use that assault lance ability, and it's really hard to shave it off. So it's really gonna be up to you guys what you want to do. Personally, I just found that lowering them a little bit was a lot more safer. The next one is to bring a debuffer to push out the defense up buff that the boss gets. Basically when it levitates, and I think it's somewhere in the 3/4 HP when it starts using that, it'll buff itself. Yeah, so this is basically the only way for you to do any brave shaving is to push out the very first debuff. Basically if you don't push it out, basically you're stuck with hitting 1 HP. I feel like you need at least 2 debuffs before you can actually start shaving it off. Just correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below, but I feel like you need 2 before you start shaving it off easily. Next up is to use your summon wisely, especially if you're aiming for that chase sequence like I did, and especially if you are using the chase team or a version of the chase team. So usually I would hold off about maybe in the second turnaround of when they levitate. That's where I found it, you know, to be quite useful. Or if you are in danger, then you can definitely use your summon. It's just that I feel like if you use it too early, you'll run out of steam pretty quickly, and you're just gonna have to deal with all this levitating stuff. And that's basically what they're gonna do. They're gonna hit you, levitate, hit you, levitate, and it's just an endless cycle. So I would suggest you can hold it off for first few levitates, because you can definitely shave off those high brave at the start of the battle. But towards the end, when they start getting those buffs, it can be a little bit tricky. And finally, my last tip for you guys, basically paralyze or blind is your best friend here. They do require a bit of luck, but if you are lucky enough for them to miss, or you get the paralyze debuff, then that's an extra extra turns for you, and it's gonna do you great service. And to some extent, the poison debuff actually helps as well, especially if they are going to use their HP attacks, which is the globated crush. So if they have, say, 2000 brave left, they'll get hit by the poison first before they use the globated crush, which means you get less HP attack. Okay, so that's basically all the general tips I can tell you guys. Obviously, the main ones like bringing a healer and bringing good DPS are kind of like a very common thing, and quite common sense. So I didn't really want to add those extra ones because I feel like they should be your top priority in this particular fight. But hey, I did say it here. So anyway, let's take a look at some possible party compositions. The first one is obviously going to be the synergy characters, which are Agrias, Faris, and Ash. Now I did add Agrias here as the support. I found a lot of people are actually having success here. The only character that you can probably switch around here is Ash. I think having Rem here will actually make it a lot safer for you, especially because of her swap ability. Basically, Faris is a very slow character, so sometimes she gets pushed towards the end and you actually need her debuff, and with Rem there, I think you'll be a little bit safer, so just take it with a grain of salt. The next one I have is the team that I had success with, which is Lael, Kate Sith, and Agrias with either a Lael or an Agrias support. I know a lot of people actually prefer Lael here to do more damage, and probably you get a higher score to boot. But I found that relying on one Agrias's paralyze was, let's just say, low percentage. A chance to paralyze is not the great, I suppose, the greatest thing to rely on. And having 2 of them to try and paralyze actually really helped. And if you watch the video closely, there is one moment here where actually was like, if I don't paralyze this, I'm dead. I'd like you guys to have a look and see that. If you can find it in the video, leave it in the comments below and let me know if you found that moment. Now, the next possible party composition I have for you guys is using Thancred. But you can probably only use this if you have his EX. The same thing with Rem, having her EX really helps you out with the Brave Shaving here. Having the 2 EX with Thancred, between Thancred and Rem, actually helps this team a lot. Unfortunately, I didn't get Thancred's EX. I actually haven't been getting any EX at all, so I haven't had any luck with the recent EXs, and that's just, you know, I'm a bit bummed out for that. Spent a lot on Ace's EX as well and never got it. So in any case, I know a lot of people have success with this one. You can use Agrias as your support as well, and of course all throughout here it's Bahamut's going to be my preferred summon. So for the last one I have here is Tidus, Echo, and Deuce with the Lael support. Now this one you will need Tidus's EX as well. Basically he's gonna be your main Brave Shaver and the buffer, but with combination of Echo and Deuce, I think you should be okay with this one. I've seen some people have actually quite a high success rate with this one, and a lot of people are finding Tidus to be really helpful here. Okay guys, so we're finally at the end of this video, and of course I'll give you guys my final thoughts on this fight. I found this fight a lot more annoying. I don't know, I think they're both in the same level as Fang's and obviously Deuce's EX. I think this is on par with Deuce's EX fight. I just feel like I had to retry and use a lot of different combinations, and if you don't have certain characters EX, it's definitely gonna be a little bit harder to beat. Not only a little, it'll be a lot harder to beat without certain EXs. Obviously if you manage to pull for Agrias' EX, that's great. This makes the fight a lot easier. If you pull for Thancred's EX as well, he's the best Brave Shaver we have right now, I think. I don't have his EX, and it sort of limited me to what I have, and then I had to use the last bits of my gems just to, you know, manage to get Agrias' 35 CP. And funnily enough, the remaining tickets that I won from the reward, I ended up getting another 35 CP. But if you don't have certain characters for this one or their EX, it's definitely gonna be hard for you to beat this fight. So I'm sorry to say, but it's one of those things where I think the power creep is starting to really hit, and it's getting harder and harder to find combinations. But I'm sure there are a lot of other YouTubers out there and a lot of other more players that can think of certain ways to beat this fight. Unfortunately, I actually don't have the time to actually look for those things, and most of these things, like when we get these hard as EXs, I like to find ways, you know, like certain party compositions that doesn't normally get used, and you know, put them in a video. But unfortunately I just don't have the time for that at this point in time, so I'm really sorry. But I'm sure there are other more players and, you know, YouTubers that can actually show us how it can be done. So anyway guys, I think I'll leave the video right here. Please remember to click like, subscribe, and share this video if you find it a little bit helpful at all. As always, I'd like to hear from you guys. What team did you use for this Agrias EX? And leave them down in the comments below. Also make sure to follow me on Twitter and on Facebook at Munchkins Gaming. And just a quick disclaimer before, oh sorry, not a disclaimer, just a quick announcement. As you guys probably heard if you've been watching all throughout this video, I am going to be leaving overseas, so I wouldn't have any time to actually do a Palom Lost chapter video. However, I still plan on making it when I come back. It's just like it's gonna be about a week late, so sorry in advance. So anyway guys, this is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.